What's up, everyone? My name's Eli, and I'm doing my video response. So right off the bat, I never really knew what humanities, I guess, really was, or really have any idea of what it is before this course. I definitely, reading all this, I had a change of mind of what it is and its importance. Before, I think I had that stereotype or that thought in my brain, just like multiple of these sources told us that STEM was so important, and it's so hyper focused because it's the way of the future. But reading and listening, my mind really opened up to the idea of humanities and the use of it and how practical it is and the need for it. So right off the bat, the first article we read, what does it mean to be human? I think that article really touched on the idea of on a basic level, what humanities is. It's the study of people, and at the core of it all is having these personable skills, finding something and looking at it and trying to study the why, hows, and whats of it. That's super important to be able to have those critical thinking skills. And like the article said, there's a lot of emphasis on STEM. That's great. But at the same time, losing out on, the soft skills that are required to close a deal in a business, to be able to communicate an idea, et cetera, et cetera. That open, first thing that started to get my brain going about, like, oh, this is more than I thought. And in the article, the professor talked about, when he gets asked what he teaches in humanities, it's everything, really. With humans, he said history, music, art, philosophy, literature, and religion. So the way of our life, what we do, what we learn, why we're doing certain actions. It's really the study of people, like I said. And kind of, I guess, after reading it all, it seems almost overlooked, the idea of studying humans and really emphasizing STEM. And then, so the second article, the person talked about college applications and people writing about, oh, I'm gonna do this, become a doctor, I'm going to computer science. So I remember back in high school, everyone was filling those out, trying to get a scholarship. And everyone who I know who got a scholarship, this isn't me like complaining that I didn't get a scholarship, I don't really care. They're like, all of them are going into STEM fields, and talking with people who didn't get them, they talked about how they said, like myself, I said I didn't know what I want to do. I still don't know what I want to do. And the other people are like, yeah. They talked about, how they didn't want to know what they want to do either, or, they want to be an English major, etc. It's once again, as there's a hyper focus on STEM, and those other areas seem to be overlooked. It's soft skills. Not saying people in STEM don't have soft skills, but you see people, say, in art, music, whatever, not STEM, you see them really hone in on some soft skills. So to the third source, this one really was the one that opened my eyes to this and saw really get a better understanding. He talked about this guy named Jeff, the bartender. They had just went to the bar after a terrible meeting with a client, and they really thought, they're going to lose his client. And this Jeff guy, I guess jokingly or seriously, said, hey, let me go in there and talk to them. So they let it happen, and Eric, the guy who talked about how he was brilliant. He was a great person, talked super well, and all that was, all that bartender did was change the communication, understand, get them to understand, ask questions, why, how, what's, and really just talk. And I think that's where I begin to see the use of it, because the guy speaking talked about how everyone was computer programmers, whatever, and how there was a lack of communication, lack of maybe not empathy, but understanding of each other. And just by having that guy go in there, change the game. The guy talked about how he dropped out of Penn as a philosophy major. Like, this guy had people skills. And I think so far from what I've collected, it's studying humans and having empathy and communicating. And then finally, the fourth link was the video, and this guy hammered away at the idea of empathy. And I think it would be great if all of us did have empathy, and I think he discussed how from a young age, babies, when they are in firstborn, one cries, they all start crying. The mirroring neurons, feeling what someone else feels. And, within these videos and just with observation and, I guess, my life in general, I see, the need for empathy. And example, I'm not gonna get into politics, but politics, there's two, right now in our country, there's two sides. There's Republican, Democrat. Yeah, you have some independents, but you have these two sides that constantly argue, and sometimes it seems like the other side isn't really listening to the other side or whatever. There's no empathy for each other. It feels like they're like, it's my way or the highway type thing. So just like that fourth video said, empathy. He talked about how there was blood empathy, there was theological, I hope I said that right, empathy. We have empathy for ourselves as a nation, and then worldwide we have empathy. And he talked about what a world it would be if we all came together like that. And I agree. He gave the example of the Haiti earthquake and how after a couple hours, everyone was looking to help them out, and help them. Just be human. Before reading these, I'd say I'd think Humanities was studying humans, and I think I still think that, but I think I have a better idea of what it really is, the why, looking at why, something, some way, or how, having empathy and really feeling what other people feel. And to sum it up, all these articles talk about empathy and soft skills, being human, right? I think, we all are human. We all make mistakes. We all have our flaws. But, we are all together. There's no difference between anyone or anything like that. So it definitely gave me a better idea of what Humanities was. Before, I kind of just thought it was, like philosophy before this. I really didn't know what it was, but it's given me a better idea of us studying the idea of humanities, studying people, and why it's important.